Meet Will and Tom, two seemingly ordinary men, cursed with a gift of vast knowledge that is forever expanding. Possessing incredible insight with unparalleled skills and expertise. Let us join them as they embark on a journey to quench their thirst for the truth while answering the questions to life's most intriguing mysteries. Let us open our minds and ask, dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? So, let me get this straight. You think that the Earth that we live on is some ball-shaped planet that circles the sun? Yeah, that's what I said. A sphere that spins around, which then spins in an orbit around the sun. Yup. And you're also telling me that there are other spherical-shaped planets that also spin and are also orbiting around our sun. Yes. And that this solar system, as you call it, is swirling around a quote-unquote galaxy, which is made up of other solar systems, and we are all circling around a what did you call it? Black hole. A black hole! Oh man, you are crazy, my friend. The things some people will believe. Welcome back, everybody. This is Tom Case.
This is William Stark.
Yes, William. I really like what I have picked out here today.
I would hope you did. It would be odd if you brought a question that you hated.
I know, right? Which I do quite often, but you just don't know. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do not hate the questions I bring. I really love them. But this one was very interesting, and it kind of opened a new door to other possible questions that we can ask in the future.
Okay. But how and why is that?
Well, because it kind of opens the door to this whole new genre of questions, right? You know what I mean?
My God. Like, this is it. This is a groundbreaking episode, guys. This is the episode where the show changes permanently.
It's changed forever, forever for the better. But like, because like I always look at our show where it's like we have like our draft royales, we have like fight nights. You know what I mean? We have our like questions that make your nose bleed because they're kind of like very trippy and out there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
You got to use a lot of brain power to.
And then we have our questions where it's like, what X-Men would you date?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very silly ones. You know what I mean? But still very important to our whole show.
Absolutely crucial.
This one's gonna open up some conspiracy theory.
Okay, I see.
So this question is,
no.
What if the Earth is flat?
Okay.
Like, what if all these flat earthers are correct? The parameters,
oh boy,
is that the Earth is still the same size, right? Same size and volume and all that, right?
Sure, okay.
It's just flat, and but here's the thing. Now, I know I do say flat, and that could actually mean a number of things.
Sure,
right?
Absolutely.
It could mean that maybe it's in a cube form, right? Like flat edges.
Okay,
right?
No.
Or
no.
it's
that's
flat,
not what flat means.
Or flat, yeah, in the traditional sense of it's literally a flat plane. I guess that would be existing in our solar system, right?
Flat is flat, and you did not say, what if the world was cubed?
Was cubed. Yeah, you're right. That is true. Every time I always hear someone say, what if the Earth was flat, though, I always picture like...
A cubed Earth?
Well, you know why? Because of... It's because of the Looney Tunes. It's because of that. Because
what do you mean?
I don't know if you've ever seen I think there's probably a couple episodes of like Bugs Bunny where they do make a joke, like a reference saying that the Earth, if the Earth was flat, but the way they viewed it was like you go to the edge of the Earth and then it's like you could fall, right? Because that side of the Earth is flat and the part you're on is also flat. If that's were the case, that would most likely.
So
mean
what happens when you step over?
He falls, but then he falls like then gravity switches over to now he's like on the other side.
And what's on that side of the Earth? Just more of the Earth?
More Earth.
So it's a cubed Earth.
Yeah, it's a cubed Earth.
That's so weird. That's such a weird interpretation of flat Earth. But
but I realize what they actually mean is like it's a flat.
Yeah, it's a disc, if you will.
I guess like a disc,
world,
like a flat plane.
Which is a very famous fantasy series.
Is there?
Yes, Disc World,
yeah. But you know what? Before we go any further, maybe Fritz fell off this flat Earth.
It's quite possible.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
But
it's as good a theory as I've heard.
Yeah. But now that he's gone, I had to do my own deep dive.
Details from the deep.
So I just looked up certain things about like the flat Earth theory and all this kind of stuff.
Now, is there one unanimous theory or are there multiple theories?
I think there's multiple theories, but there is one kind of like general consensus.
There's one theory to rule them all?
Yeah, one theory
God.
to rule them all
Jesus.
about a flat Earth. But I just wanted to look up certain facts about like the spherical Earth. About spherical Earth, yeah. So the idea of the spherical Earth.
The idea?
Excuse me.
Tom, the idea? Sorry.
Listen, the idea, if you let me finish, the idea of a spherical Earth appeared in ancient Greek philosophy with Pythagoras, right? I think all of our math buffs would know
who Pythagoras is.
Yeah. Although most pre-Socratics retained that the flat Earth model, in the early 4th century BC, Plato wrote about a spherical Earth. And by about 330 BC, his former student Aristotle had provided strong empirical evidence for a spherical Earth. Knowledge of the Earth's global shape then gradually began to spread beyond the Hellenistic world. Despite the scientific fact and obvious effects of Earth's sphericity.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
sphericity.
That's a word.
Pseudoscientific flat Earth conspiracy theories are espoused by modern flat Earth societies and increasingly by unaffiliated individuals using social media. That is where I think is like spreading gasoline on a fire, right? You know, social media.
You're
because
allowing idiots to network with other idiots.
Yeah.
And then spread their idiocy like a plague.
You know what I always thought about social media is like, you remember back in like, let's say, I think it's like the Renaissance age, you would have these quote unquote medicine people, like quote unquote doctors who were selling their cure-all tonic, on the side of the road at like
I know what you're talking about. What makes you bring up the Renaissance in relation to them? I'm just curious.
It's just that every time I would see something, let's say like, because you know what, I see a lot of that, most of my knowledge comes from movie, TVs, and video games. And Assassin's Creed has a lot of those, like when you're going in those towns.
Now, granted, there have always been snake oil salesmen going back as far back as, and sure, I'm sure the Renaissance had plenty.
Oh, I'm sure, and there are more than that too.
And I'm not judging you on why you bring up the Renaissance, because for me, whenever I think of like that type of salesperson, the cure-all tonics, I tend to think of like the American Industrial Revolution, like the early 1900s, late
too.
1800s.
Those do pop into my head too.
Because I know that there was a famous quote unquote doctor who bought a radio station. I think it was in Kansas, and basically he used the radio station in order to he would like play music and bring artists and stuff onto it, but it was primarily in order to advertise his healing tonic.
Just to sell
and he
his
became
product.
a national phenomenon, and it took like a whole board of like doctors and like the health department to take his ass down, because he was spreading a lot of misinformation. I wish I remember the name of this guy right now, because this dude was a menace. But go ahead.
The time period I picked to do this analogy isn't really important.
You said the Renaissance. I was like, wow, that was a very particular.
It's just
period.
in my head. That's what I picture because of the fact. But what I was trying to like compare it to is like, there wasn't any regulation to that. Like these people could sit up there,
the damn unregulated Renaissance.
Exactly, like saying anything they wanted to about this tonic that could have just been like water with a little bit of honey in it, and then and alcohol, and they could have been like, this will cure all your ailments, whatever. They could say whatever. Just like these, like people who may be saying that flat Earth is the actual facts. Well, when they're on social media, there's no one to filter that out. There's no like real scientific process, right? So they just get to say whatever they want, and unfortunately some people really believe it, and that's a big problem.
I have met people who do partake of not just flat Earth theory, a bunch of other things. One of the common denominators when it comes to the people that I've met is there seems to be a very conscious decision to reject this reality. Like, a lot of times when I've gotten into debates with these people about like, well, you see why this can't be true. It's because of X, Y, and Z. And like, I'll bring up like some articles and I'll state some facts and we'll go over it. And when they run out of argument and they run out of debate, it always comes down to the same thing of like, well, I don't like that reality. Like, let me choose to believe what I want to believe because I feel better about it. And I just find that bizarre.
I know.
But it also really changed my mind on even engaging in debate with people who believe in stuff like that, because I realize like the core issue here isn't that they're unable to understand the facts. It's that they have quote unquote facts, not facts, but they have ideas that they prefer. And they rather just be able to buy into this idea because it makes them feel better about the reality. I'm not sure why that is, but there it is.
Everything you just said right now brought up three major issues with when you're trying to debate someone like that. Is one, they take an idea as a fact, right? So they take someone's idea and now they view that as fact. Two, when you give them evidence that proves them wrong, they don't understand the evidence. And when they don't, third, when they don't understand the evidence, they revert back to, oh, so you just believe that? Well, yes, they just showed me the evidence. I understand what this evidence is telling me.
Sure, yeah.
But since you don't, now you're thinking, well, this is just some lie somebody told you, which is like, you know what I mean? You could use that same argument against them. Well, whoever told you the flat Earth, like, you're just going to believe that? They
right.
Didn't get,
No, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And that is the case. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I think what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to people who have these pretty extreme, like, not evidence-founded beliefs, there is no logicking or arguing your way them out of it, because when it comes down to it, they have fundamentally chosen to. You know what? I kind of liken it to when you get into sports. If you get into a particular team, so like I'm a diehard Dodgers fan, right? But when I started watching baseball, I didn't have a team. I chose to follow the Dodgers because of a couple arbitrary reasons. One being my locale. Number two, like my dad was a Dodgers fan growing up, and I just was like, okay, I'll go with the Dodgers. And as I began to love the sport and get more and more into my team, I realized what fandom of a sports team really is. It's you just choosing to invest yourself into something that has nothing to do with you. Like, because what even is a team? Like, a team changes from year to year, right? It's an idea. It's ephemeral. It's not actually this real thing, but it's you choosing to join in on this massive hallucination with other people that you are tied to this team's success. Yeah. And as you buy into the storylines, as you buy into the idea, you gain this kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, this vicarious experience in a way of living through this team. And it's fun. It's an amazing experience. I recommend it highly. Yeah. Some people take it too seriously, but it's a very similar thing. You are cognitively deciding to buy into something that isn't actually real and rejecting anything that counter evidence to that.
Yeah, that brings up and I know you brought this up at least twice on this podcast, which is what was that theory about the ship? If you replace the
ship of Theseus, yeah.
What was it? A Theseus?
The ship of Theseus.
Oh yeah, ship of Theseus. Yeah. It's like the same thing. Like the 1920s Dodgers. You know what I mean?
They have nothing to do with
the team now is so different.
Absolutely.
But it's still the Dodgers. It's still that whole thing in your mental.
It's a brand, really.
A brand. Yeah.
But that being said, like, while sometimes people can take sports fandom too far, sports fandom can be a very rewarding experience. Oh yeah, and it can be an experience that brings you together with other groups of people, and it's very rewarding.
That's true,
and that's what happens with flat Earth theory. Is it is an experience that these people are having. They're buying into a reality that they prefer, and it's bringing them a sense of community with all these other people who are quote unquote in the know. Like,
exactly.
With them.
Yeah. So then, exactly. Because
they're getting that same dopamine rush that you would get from like a sports fandom.
Yeah. Real quick, just the last half of this deep dive here, I just wanted to get into. In the modern era, the pseudoscientific belief in a flat Earth originated with the English writer Samuel Robotham. Rowbotham, with the 1849 pamphlet Zetetic Astronomy. Lady Elizabeth Blount established the Universal Zetetic Society in 1893, which published journals. Other notable flat earthers in the 19th century and early 20th centuries include William Carpenter, E.W. Bollinger, John Jasper, Paul Kruger, and Wilbur Glenn Voliva.
I don't know who any of these people are.
In 1956, Samuel Shenton, which I don't know either, set up the International Flat Earth Research Society, or better known as IFERS, also known as Flat Earth Society, from Dover, England, and as a direct descendant of the Universal Zetetic Society. So I never knew where this whole flat Earth thing now, because again, with social media, it's caught fire again, and now it's in everyone's eye, you know what I mean? So you just hear about it. Yeah. But yeah, I never knew actually of how long that's really been around. I thought literally once we found the proof, you know what I mean, that it's not flat, that everyone was like, oh, okay, it's not flat, but I guess that's not the case.
Yeah. I think there's a lack of understanding when it comes to the scientific community too, the public. I think a lot of people don't realize how competitive the scientific community is, and trust me, if scientists really could somehow prove the world is flat and empirically prove, they would be chomping at the bit to prove it, because it would rise their prestige so much higher and so much more prominently, and plus just the desire of knowledge and the knowledge spread is it's rampant in the scientific community. That's why these people became scientists. I listen to a lot of podcasts with interviews of scientists, and it is very, very apparent the type of people these people are. They're people who love knowledge, they want to learn, they want to spread it, and also they want to be the ones to find this stuff. Exactly. So it's not very conducive. It's not a very conducive group of people. It's not a very conducive environment within this group of people for things like conspiracies to actually happen. Yeah. Because there would be too many of them that would not be no, I'm not buying in. We're not blocking this from the people. I want to be the one to tell people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
and even the people who, other scientists, I mean, they're very harsh on their peers.
Exactly.
They're not going to let someone go away with some half-assed scientific studies.
They're certainly not.
They're going to make sure, and they're going to probably do the test themselves too,
Exactly.
Can anybody hear me? Please hear me. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? If you can hear me, this is Fritz Frivolous. I need your help. I'm stuck. Somehow stuck inside the minds of Will and Tom. I need to escape. Please support them and their podcast. You can go to patreon.com/dudecouldyouimagine or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Distract them long enough for me to break free. You can even leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Again, don't forget about me, Fritz Frivolous.
But the question actually is, what if
the world was actually flat?
The world is actually flat.
So if somehow we just discovered it now,
I know,
that
right?
would be wild, because it would mean that everything we know about astronomy and the way celestial bodies work would be completely wrong.
Yeah,
right?
all the faked satellite pictures of Earth and all that stuff.
All that would have to have been faked. It would actually cause great upheaval in society. One of my main questions is what is the cause of gravity then?
Right. Okay. That's where my mind went to first.
Something has to be causing it for us to stay on this flat disk world. And right now, our understanding of gravity is that when enough mass compiles together, it actually warps space-time, and causes gravity to pull at all things around it towards its source. Since there is no central source that gravity can be pulling on, and it's obviously not a mass effect. What is causing this pull of the direction which is down onto this disk? Because
that's where my mind went to first. I was like, how would gravity work? How would we even have any of this satellite? Would that still be able to go around like that in an orbit?
It probably wouldn't, right? No, exactly. Or anything that goes onto the other side of the disk just gets lost.
Not only that, but also now that we're thinking of it in these terms, the core of Earth, I think that's kind of responsible for our magnetic deflection of a lot of solar flares, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if it's flat, you can't have that, can you?
I mean, yeah, there's no core, and then there's no what is responsible for tectonic activity as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the answers, like, obviously these things do exist. So we have to come up. I mean, now we're starting in the world of gods. Right. Must be the god of magnetism. And, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm not smart enough for me to come up with any type of explanation of, like, how a magnetic field would work on a disk world.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Maybe we do have some listeners who are flat earthers.
I'm sure we do.
Maybe they have those answers. Because, you know, I just realized that posing this question, it kind of forced us to be on, like, okay, if the world, like, it is flat. So
well,
now
I do
let's
know
explain
one of the
how.
major things in, like, the flat earthers theories these days is that, like, the world is surrounded by an ice wall. I'm not making this up. Their
really?
idea is that the world is surrounded by an ice wall, and, like, the world's governments are keeping this wall secret. It is actively guarded, and no one's allowed to approach it.
Okay.
Like, yeah. And they have all these weird explanations for how like, airplane navigation works, which make no fucking sense. And, like, any airplane pilot, any type of aeronautical navigator, it's very apparent the world is curved.
Okay, so
round.
Real quick. So this thing about you're saying with the ice wall. So I'm to assume that what they're saying is, though, like, this kind of borders.
Their idea is that there is no such thing called the Antarctic. The Antarctic is actually the secret code word or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't actually know what they say, what their terminology is. Mm-hmm. But the Antarctic is actually this ice wall that's around the continents, that it surrounds the world.
So okay, because this is probably also my cartoony brain, right? Like, okay,
I'm picturing Game of Thrones, the Night's Watch wall,
I do picture that too. But no, like, so, but when we were thinking of the flat Earth, and I'm not talking about the cube, I'm not talking about the cubed Earth, right? The flat Earth,
the disk world.
I'm still thinking though that there's people underneath that too. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, like, if you see my hand, right? This is the Earth. It's flat. My palm's flat. So there's people in continents here, and there's also right here.
Oh, no,
right?
no. Okay,
you know
no. I again, with this idea of flat Earth is like, no, all the continents are on the top of it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because then I was wondering.
See, you're literally picturing, like, okay, you have the globe, now we've flattened it like a pancake.
Yeah, exactly.
No. That's so crazy that's where your brain went. Okay, no. I think the idea of a flat world is that everything's on the top.
Okay.
Which raises the question, like, if the world is... Yes, it makes a lot. My goodness. By the end of this, Tom, you're going to be a flat earther.
I'm like, maybe it's true.
No, but like, let's say that's true, and we have the ice walls and all that other craziness,
and the White Walkers.
Like, what is beyond the ice wall? You know, what ice giants are out there? What how thick? Like, what is the diameter of thickness of our flat Earth? Is it miles thick? Is it just like, is it paper thin? Can I punch a hole? Obviously, I can't. But, like,
I know. I mean,
and what is on the other side?
Obviously, with other craters and stuff that already exist, that means it's got to be. I mean, somewhat thick. I don't know what
the idea would be. I'm sure it's miles thick.
Yeah,
right?
but
and, like, is it like a pillar? Does it go down forever? Are we but a massive pillar in the great cosmos, and all the other bodies are floating around in space above and beyond us?
That, you know what? That brings another question too. So, like, yeah, are we just the most unique planet let alone our galaxy, but like in our own solar system?
We're not a planet. We are a plane.
A plane. Yeah, we're a planet.
A planet. Yeah.
No, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, now
it would mean that, like, where we live, Earth itself is not. It's not one of the many celestial bodies. Like that, like, we know those. Like, we can't start talking about Jupiter as if it's flat. It's very plainly
right.
round.
That's
we
what
can
I'm saying.
Look at
like,
it.
yeah.
So all the other celestial bodies in the universe are very round, and they operate off of all the physics that we know and understand, except for us as this weird observant flat world,
but
is below it all and can look up at it all.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But no, that's just too. My mind is like. It's
also, like, my
now.
question is, like, how? Because obviously the stars in the sky, like, you know, our view changes as the Earth goes around the sun, right?
Yeah.
So how does that get explained in flat Earth? Is it a flat Earth that's, like, kind of tilting? Does it do like a weird tilt? Does it dance back and
if
forth?
That's the way that they're
on a 364-day cycle? That's weird.
The more and more we're trying to see, like, if the question is if the world is actually flat, like, the more and more my brain is getting.
So let's say you scale the ice wall, right? And you get to the edge of the world, like, and you leap off. Do you fall down in this theory, or do you float off into space? That's
what you would have to float off into space, right? I would think so. I mean, now I'm curious about if they have this other theory about the government's keeping this wall secret, then why are they keeping it secret then? Is it for safety reasons because they don't want people to jump off and fly off into space? Or,
I think when it comes to a lot of the conspiracy theories about like the government's keeping it secret, it always has to do with control. We have to control the people.
I guess.
We can't let them go beyond the wall. I mean, to be fair, if there was a giant ice wall and there were things beyond it, beyond our imagination, maybe it is best no one be going there. I don't know.
I mean, that is true, but like, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, how many people literally, like, what's the percentage of people who've climbed like Mount Everest? You know what I mean? If you looked at through history, if this was true, how many people are really going to go? First of all, it's going to be probably the hardest trek you've ever had in your entire life, right? And then beyond that, there could possibly be that you float off into space, or that there's these like White Walkers or whatever you want to call them. Like,
my thing is, like, if that conspiracy was true, is like, how would you keep every single airline in the world, every single government in the world, every single cruise line in the world, and all the people who just use that stuff, like, not just the scientific community, but like Hollywood in the movie, like, they have to go to all these different locations. Like, you think people aren't going to start catching on? How can all these hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people over the course of decades and decades keep this same secret going? I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen.
That is hard to believe.
Like, it's just not going to happen. But anyways, okay, so we have an ice wall, the world's flat.
It's funny how like we're trying to go through this as if it is flat, but we can't. Like,
it would mean that okay, if there is an atmosphere, it would have to be like a weird domed atmosphere,
right? That's weird.
Or a cubed atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like, it would extend so far off the disk, but like the gravity that the disk operates on. Or maybe we're just abandoning all reason in this universe, and like there's no such thing as atmosphere. And you can go up into space and you can breathe there too, right?
Yeah, okay.
So this becomes like a Spelljammer style universe, which is a D&D setting where like all the worlds are discs, and you can get in these ships with engines called Spelljammers and sail off into the ether. But you can breathe out here. You're fine. And there's asteroids and celestial bodies and stuff. But you can also find other disc worlds and go to them, and they're flat. Like, so basically, we live in a D&D campaign, and the ice walls are keeping back the astral dreadnoughts and the other, like, the illithid nautiloids and all this other stuff at bay. And magic is real, and we should scale this ice wall because I want to go become a wizard.
And the government has just been able to keep us under wraps, right?
Absolutely.
And they just don't know. You know, one thing, though, one thing I do want to bring up, though, what's on the under part of the Earth then?
Yeah, what's like, in the great underbelly of? Well, like, maybe Atlas is really down there holding it all up, man.
Yeah, I know, right? That would suck. I feel real bad for him.
Yeah,
but like, definitely. If it's not like the way I was thinking it, which is like taking a globe and then squishing it flat, right? Yeah, then what is?
Well,
you know what
I mean,
like,
it's got to be one or two things. Either the flat world floats in the vacuum of space, or it's on some sort of eternal stone pillar that goes down God knows how far, right?
And the stone pillar is probably some ancient god civilization that had, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think there have been sects across the history of Christianity that truly believe that if you go down far enough, you find hell. If you go up high enough, you find heaven. And like maybe in this flat Earth theory, like maybe the ice walls are keeping hell at bay.
Yeah, that, you know what? Hey, I mean, if you're going to keep hell at bay, you might as well have big ice walls.
Yeah, you might. No better way to keep hell at bay than the giant ice walls. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for the giant ice walls.
You know what? I really liked this question. Like, I really like this, us going through some conspiracy theories. If anyone listening right now really likes what they're hearing, you know what? Go tell your friends, like, go tell your family, go tell your enemies. You know what I mean? Like, have them listen to the show too.
Go tell your frenemies.
Yeah, go tell your frenemies, exactly. And also too, we would love to hear back from you if you have like some weird conspiracy theory that you've heard of or something that you kind of want us to discuss on the show. Just let us know. You could email us. You could write a comment on YouTube, tweet at us. You could even leave a comment on our Instagram, and we would definitely love to hear from you. And dude, could you imagine?
I already have.
The podcast you have just heard are the imaginings from the highly evolved minds of the extra-dimensional beings, Will and Tom. It has been translated into a format more easily understood by the human mind. Interpret it as you will. Should you find yourself seeking more answers to life's most intriguing mysteries, you can show your support by becoming a Patreon member at patreon.com/dude-could-you-imagine. You can also leave an Apple Podcast review. You can subscribe to us on Instagram at dude_could-you-imagine, on Twitter at DCYimagine, and on our YouTube channel, where you can leave a like and a comment. We can also be reached through our email, dudecouldyoimagine@gmail.com. We leave you now so that you may gather your thoughts, until we meet again, to ponder the meaning of the cosmos and ask, dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Let alone our galaxy, but like in our own solar system?
We're not a planet. We are a plane.
A plane. Yeah, we're a planet.
A planet, yeah.